Hello and welcome to a special episode of Fully Charged News. I'm Robert Llewellyn.
And I'm Jonny Smith. Hello.
So, Jonny, the first story, because what we're going to do is cover all the sort of latest electric car stories, of which there is quite a few, which is quite exciting. So
this is 6 sheets of paper.
There's some sheets of information, of research and data.
Yeah.
But the first one is the Lucid Air, which I think is, what I remember about it, there was a period last year where there were two new car companies launched that were all a bit like Tesla.
Tesla-ish.
Faraday Futures and Lucid. A lot of people from Tesla have gone to these companies.
Well, this is the thing, because they're all American, right?
Yeah.
They're all West Coast.
They're all sort of Southwest America, yeah.
Yeah.
All West Coast, yeah.
So they've taken Elon Musk's kind of blueprint.
Yeah.
And they've thought, this is working, because it's not fading away, it's only getting bigger and bigger.
But what they've done, I think this is worth mentioning, is they've just, tested the Lucid Air, which is their first model, at 217 miles an hour, which is quite fast.
That is really quick.
In a road-going saloon car, and they said that is the regular. It's not a tuned-up one. It is the car they're producing.
The thing. Well, that's incredible, and also, like you say, it's a passenger car. It's not a race car.
No.
It's not an arrow-shaped.
They did it on one of those bowls, because I've been on the one I'm sure you've been on that, the one at Millbrook. It's a 2 mile bowl, and it's hard to describe. Because even when you look at it, you go, "What the hell is that?" When you're standing next to it, you go, "That is so weird," because it's basically a motorway that's sort of sideways.
It's a motorway, yeah, that's
goes up
kicked,
like that.
and you don't need to steer when you get to a certain speed.
No.
The car.
So they took it round one of those, and they got it up to 217 miles an hour, which is 315 kilometres an hour, which is quite fast.
In metric. I was looking at this car. The performance is slightly worse than a Model S.
Yeah.
2.5 seconds to 60. But
sluggish.
This is the thing. We've got Tesla have pushed the boundaries so high that everyone's getting quite complacent about, well, hang on, 2.5, 3 seconds to 60. It's like Lamborghinis are struggling to do 2.5 seconds to 60.
Yeah.
They are supercars. Ferraris, McLarens.
Yeah.
This is a car that fits 4 people, 5 people.
It's a four-seater.
So it's a luxury long wheelbase 4-seater passenger car. That's still insanely quick.
It is insanely quick, yeah. I mean, they do refer to it as a private jet on wheels, which I think it gives a clue to their potential market that they're aiming at.
Although I did read that they've said, most people have said, but it's $100,000, which is excluding an awful lot of people. Yeah. But they have said, no, we're going to bring out a base model, which is $52,500 proposed.
Snip.
Yeah,
and a couple of them.
Well, quite. and like the Model S, the base model is rear-wheel drive.
Right.
Single motor, I think. And it'll do 240 mile range. Right. Still got 400 horses.
Wow.
Whereas the 100-gram ones, twin motor, all-wheel drive, bigger range. Actually, no. Yeah, it is 400 mile range.
Right. 400 miles.
400 miles though on one charge with nearly 1,000 horsepower or something.
You've got to
they
drive
can
it
carry
carefully.
4 people with loads of legroom.
Oh God, it's all luxury. The interior is amazing.
With your kids watching Herbie on DVD in the back or whatever.
It feels like there haven't been new car companies for decades that have been sort of started and then
not credible ones.
And not to build. And this is 3 years of development and 300 people, which it sounds like a lot. I mean, if you were making fully charged and you had 3 years development, 300 people, it would be massive. It would be a major
Just
global
imagine that
brand.
That would be amazing.
But to build a car from that is pretty impressive.
In the olden days, people would look at the heritage and they would PR themselves based upon what's happened.
What they did do. Yeah.
Look at traditional car companies like Jag, Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. They've been going for 100 years, 75 years, whatever. Along comes Tesla, and it makes a loss for 8 years or whatever. But suddenly these car companies have been around for 100 years, have gone, these guys are doing it really well, straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And now you're getting these companies like Lucid Air, like Faraday, who are just coming in and going, I reckon we can do that. And they're coming at it from a technology point of view rather than maybe just a basic engineering, which is what the early days of the car.
The background of all these people is computers and
all tech.
It's not cars.
And it's appealing more. I think it's probably being embraced quicker by a younger generation of people who don't really care about heritage so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've probably been brought up on heritage is best. Heritage is to be trusted. Yeah. We've got a Land Rover mug here.
Exactly. That is a classic. That is the number plate of the very first Land Rover ever produced.
Yeah. So, and the reason why you probably own that is because it's a heritage thing.
Well, because I've been to Land Rover and seen the thing.
Exactly.
A lot of people are talking about the Tesla Model 3. Technically, I have a Tesla Model 3 on order, but through the lease company I lease my car through, so it's not in my name. But they've got one. They said
that you can have.
They've got one on their list that I could have.
That you can switch it out with. I can
switch mine out with, but not till 2019 in this country, so still a while away.
That's a way away, isn't it?
Yeah, but this year it was just announced on, I think, June the 2nd, so that their first Tesla Model 3s will be released in America in July.
Yeah.
Which apparently is a month later than they said. I don't know about that, because I didn't expect it until next year. But
the 3 is the hardest nut to crack, because the thing about the Model 3 is it's so much harder for car companies to build decent stuff at a much smaller price point.
Right.
In other words, it's so much harder to sell a $9,000 brand new car that is safe, has a warranty, than a $60,000 car.
Right.
Because there's less profit for one thing, and you've got to package so much more into it and sell it at such a slash down price. That's why I think the Model 3 has got to be is the more crucial.
So you reckon that's more of a challenge then for a manufacturer than them doing Model S's, Model X's, big
way
cars?
More.
Right.
That's why Rolls-Royce have a much easier job on their hands than Renault.
Right.
Because
they'll make 10 a week, and then they all sell at massive price.
Of course, because they could quietly add 30 grand onto their car, and most customers will didn't even know.
Yeah.
That's just something I had lying around. Do you know what I mean? But that is more than the price of the most expensive Renault.
Yes.
So I think that we cannot underestimate the how important and difficult that is. I want to know how that's going to compare to the Jag IPace.
Yes, which I haven't covered in this week's news, because I really want to see the iPace. Didn't you see it?
I've sat in it.
You've sat in it?
And licked it. Almost licked it. My tongue's literally been that far away from the dash, which has some coordinates on it. The dash, part of the design of the dash, has the coordinates of, I think, the factory or the design studio of Jag. It's design wank, but it's actually quite a cool thing. Wow. It's I have to say, I was really impressed with that car.
Oh, right.
Because although it's very futuristic looking, it's not sort of silly.
Right, it looks plausible.
Oh, it looks totally plausible. Right. And they've just...
Because that comes out this year, doesn't it?
2018.
2018, yeah. Right. So there might be...
And what they've said is, what you see is pretty much what you're going to get.
Right. Oh,
they've quietly, confidently said, this is kind of it.
Right. Yeah. This one caught my imagination just because MG is exactly what you're talking about, heritage. MG's
heritage has had its ups and downs. MG... right now, as most people probably know watching this, is Chinese owned.
Yes.
They don't really, they make like 3 a year or something, or did at Longbridge.
Right.
It was a sort of company that was limping along, but it has a much stronger, I think, brand identity in China.
Yeah, or overseas, yeah.
Where anything with the Union Jack is highly revered. Over here, MG's become a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
It is getting back onto its feet with the Model 3, the Model 6, this SUV thing, and now... the
MG E-Motion, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's sort of this. It's a sport. I guess it is. Would it be a 2-seater or is it a 2+2?
It's a 2+2, so it'll be 2 adults, 2 children, I guess.
Yeah, it looks nice. Don't know. Wait till we see that one.
Do you know what I'd like to see?
So it'll be built in China. It's not because when I first saw it, I thought, oh, brilliant, they're going to start building those here. No,
that'll be pure Chinese. I think the days of MGs being properly built in Britain are
long gone. So the new Leaf, I am excited about this because my Leaf it's been going a long time now, 58,000 miles.
Is it really?
Yeah. Still goes, never broken down, nothing ever gone wrong with it.
There's a lot of high mileage Leaves about.
Yes.
Which proves that they're
right. Well, there's a taxi one that's done 170,000 miles. I mean, that is amazing. So there's a new Leaf coming out this year.
Yeah.
And it's
got a higher range.
It's got a higher range, 200 miles.
Yes.
So they're saying a 200-mile range, which is probably in the real world 180, but a massive jump for if it's somewhere in the kind of plus 150s.
200 miles is credible.
And I now know from experience, when you've got a car with a 200-plus mile range, you don't do range anxiety. I mean, I got over range anxiety very quickly, but you genuinely, like the iMeave, when I first met you, and you were driving the iMeave, I think you can honestly say, we all had range anxiety driving the iMeave, for real. Claws
in the dashboard, like chattering teeth.
Can I get round this corner? That was, But since that, I kind of don't think about it. But if I was going to drive to Liverpool, it would take some planning to do in the Leaf. You could do it, but it would be it would still be a bit of a pain. Whereas the Tesla, I genuinely don't think about it because it's got a longer range than I have. I've got a 145-mile bladder range. I've worked that out.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, after 145 miles takes quite a long time on driving on British roads.
Doctors would advise you to stop by
I think it's not good, is it? Yeah.
Do some lunges.
Yeah, I'll do a few lunges, a bit of stretching, a bit of yoga, have a wee.
This is the point, because a lot of people who poo-poo the EV thing are forgetting that in the real world you'll probably need to stop anyway.
Yeah.
I've got young kids. I have to stop.
Yeah.
I have to stop every hour.
Yes.
Definitely on a motorway.
Yeah.
Every hour.
And you need to stop for more than a minute.
Always more than a minute.
Yeah,
by the time everyone's gone to the toilet,
Yeah.
had a tantrum, had a drink, so that is going to be the. Are they going to still sell the other Leaf alongside it, or is that going to be industry standard Leaf, more than 200 miles?
That's an annoyingly well-informed question. Whether you understand the automotive industry, I have no idea.
Okay.
I wonder if we'll get any comments about that.
Do you know the thing about the Leaf? The thing about the Leaf for me, and I know I was in Japan when they first unveiled what the Leaf would look like. Yeah. And I'd driven.
And did it look pretty much like the actual one? Right.
But I always thought the Leaf. I just wish it looked a bit cooler.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to be sorry, because I can understand. That an Aston Martin is a beautiful car, and a Leaf is a bit of a plug. I can understand the theory of that, but it doesn't worry me very. It doesn't worry me.
It's not a deal breaker.
No. But the new Leaf looks quite different. That new design looks a bit different.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think I'm sure they've had feedback.
I think they have had feedback. Yeah.
Now Volkswagen. See, I think this is my problem, because I do love Volkswagens. I had every Golf you can poke a stick at in my life. I've had the real full gamut.
Yeah.
Until I went from R32 to Prius. That was the big
Such
change.
a big jump.
That was quite a big jump. God, what's happened to Volkswagen is pretty disastrous, and it's been the public face of diesel lies, because every company does it. I mean, it's very unfair in that sense. They did lie, they did cheat, they did try and con everybody, as are every company that makes diesel cars.
And you've got this whole NEDC thing.
Yeah.
And obviously all the MPG on non-EVs that are quoted.
It's rubbish.
It has to be taken with a bowl full of salt, because it's all on a test rig in a room.
Yes.
The thing about VW is like you say, because of them being the poster child of diesel filth and outrage, and it's going to affect all of us. The good thing about people that are probably watching this, they've already stepped into this world of zero emission cars and plug-ins. So as a result, VW are actually going to be our friend.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, because I remember saying, I think I said it on an episode of Fully Charged, wouldn't it be brilliant if, as a response to this, Volkswagen said, right, we're going to start making electric cars at big time, thinking, of course they won't.
Yeah.
They'll just make cleaner diesels.
They've lost a shed load of money.
They must have done.
Dieselgate. Well, they still are losing it as we speak.
And it's costing them a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah. So as a result, they are going headlong into EVs and plug-in petrol cars.
Yeah.
And that is their future. Yeah. They've said it.
Yeah.
I was on the phone to them yesterday.
They're public about it.
Oh, they're absolutely public about it.
But this car, the ID Cross,
yes.
I have no idea what that name means. I suppose it could be cross. Is it because it's a crossover? That's model. So explain to me what a crossover is, because I don't even know. Is that not quite an SUV, but nearly?
Yeah, well, crossover originally was a car that didn't fall into a particular segment, but the problem is it's become so popular that it is a segment. It's become a segment, right? So what it is a car that apes an SUV, higher riding position. Yeah, but it's not as heavy. It's not necessarily four-wheel drive.
Right.
So it's the silhouette of one, but probably lighter, probably two-wheel drive. So it's get the look.
Right.
I want the look of an SUV, but realistically, I don't need four-wheel drive. I don't really want 20 to the gallon.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to weigh 2 tons.
No.
This is the third VW ID concept.
Right.
So they did one of them, which I've forgotten the name of. Then I did the ID Buzz, which is the one that looked like the Combi, the Bully, the second gen of that.
Right.
Again, electric. And this is the Cross, the third. And what they've said is, by 2020, you will be buying ID VWs, which are all electric.
Right. Because I always think of 2020, it still feels like the future, which it is.
It is, Robert. It is the future.
But it feels like 2020 is like, we'll all be just in like thought bubbles.
We'll be hovering around.
But 2020 is only 3 years. Less than 3 years. So it's not that long. Even for a bloke my age, I might still be around. So I might get to have a go in an ID Cruz.
I'm looking forward to it.
Now, to round up with a bit of proper, because we started out with ridiculously fast cars, the Lucid Air.
Yes.
And I just thought this stuff is just bonkers. What's it called? The GT, Electric GT.
Electric GT.
Electric GT. will be 10 racing Tesla Model S's.
Yeah,
but
which is going to be amazing.
I think it will. Because I was very supportive of Formula E when it started, and it's really brilliant that they're doing that. And the fact that it's still going now and it seems to be working is fantastic. And those cars are developing. But I'm desperate to see different teams build their, rather than they're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then in a similar way, that's the same as this. But somehow this appeals to me more. And I think it's because I grew up watching. I always enjoyed saloon car racing. Things, because I grew up near Silverstone, so you watch and there'd be a Rover V8 with big tyres, and it was a car you'd see on the road, but it was all done up and it had crash stuff. And this exactly what this is. This is the Tesla with stripped down and with roll cages and
you've hit the nail on the head, because I think the appeal for me and you, like you've said, for stuff like this is single-seater cars get the technology that we're going to get in passenger cars in 2 years, 3 years. Same as Formula One. This is a car you can buy off the shelf, stripped down like a rally car, and adapted for competition use. Yeah. And that turns me on more, because there'll be a bit more rubbing, bit more panel damage. Right. It's like touring cars; they nudge and budge, and let's face it, it's just more fun.
Yeah. It's so quick,
and it was quick anyway.
Yeah, it's quick
and
anyway.
when you've taken all the chairs,
they've taken 1,100 pounds, which is very American. I don't know how many kilograms.
I don't know about pounds.
Well, it's probably about 500 kilograms. It's about £2 to a kilogram. So
about
roughly,
half a ton.
Yes, it's a lot of weight.
Half ton of
weight.
But
it's 0 to 62 in 2.1 seconds.
Which is phenomenal. This is going to be amazing. So you've got 10 teams, 20 drivers, 7 races across European raceways. Yeah. It'll be great, because it'll be a support race to all the other, probably to the existing GT racing, in the hope that people might be weaned off.
Actually, it would be. I would love to see that. So you sit down in the stands at Silverstone, and there's all that noise as there's a classic GT race going. And they all roar off, and the smoke and everything, and then it would be 10 Teslas. Yeah. You wouldn't hear a thing from that. I mean, you might just about hear tyres squeal, but
what about if you're allowed to make noise with one of them? So one of the teams is sponsored by, I don't know, Guns N' Roses. Yeah. Just imagine if Axl Rose went, I've got a few bob, I'm going to sponsor that car, and it's going to play Welcome to the Jungle all the way around. All the way around.
So you're sitting there.
Yeah.
Birds singing.
Welcome to the Jungle. Just the whole time.
That's great. We're looking forward to that. The last thing, which is very exciting, is the Renault Zoe e-Sport.
This is going to be brilliant.
This is really exciting, because the new Renault Zoe, the Renault Zoe 40, is a remarkable step in electric car development. To essentially double the range of a car with exactly the same size battery in exactly the same car is amazing.
How fast is that evolution? 4 years?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Double
the range, same packaging.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Brilliant, and it's a brilliant car. We drove it a really long way in Portugal without a second thought. It was like really a big change in that, because it's one of those cars that came out and they were all sort of 100 miles. Yeah. And they could do sort of 90.
And in winter it's like...
in winter it's less, and this is without question summer 200, winter 180. It's that 170, something like that. So I mean, proper change.
I like the Zoe.
But then this one is a 460 brake horsepower. With 2 Formula E motors driving front and rear axle. It's the Renault Zoe e-Sport.
It's going to be...
With a 0 to 60 time of 3.2, which is, top of the range Tesla level.
That is like Uber
hot hatch.
Well, the great thing is Renault...
I'd love to have an electric hot hatch. I used to have hot hatches. I want one.
But this will be the spiritual successor to your Golf R32.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Peugeot 205 GT. That one's very popular little car. The GT.
Massive.
I've never had one of them, but...
Yeah, it would be. Massive power in a small body. Yeah. But the great thing about this is Renault have a history of with Renault Sport of producing amazing chassis and suspension and cornering. If they nail that, and it really is as good and exciting as existing hot hatches with pistons, and the Zoe that we know is actually a pretty well packaged car, this thing's going to it will blow my small mind.
Yeah.
It really will.
No, I'm very excited about the Zoe e-Sport. Anyway, as you might have guessed, that's all we've got time for, because this is probably one of the longest news episodes. Oh, we've got to do that with our papers.
That's all we've got time for.
That's all we've got time for, isn't it, Johnny? We've got to go now. Yeah. So thank you. As I'll just do the very quick thing at the end. Please subscribe to Fully Charged. Please check out the Patreon link beneath this video. And also, as we always say on Fully Charged, if you have been, thank you for watching.